agenda. Secretary's report. Mr. Yates.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the meetings of the January 26th regular school committee meeting. I recommend passage of the meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Yates. We'll give the second.
That's where we go.
Mr. Lavin.
That's a public hearing.
Questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the treasurer's report.
That will be delayed. Treasurer has indicated that he's meeting family members coming in by train. And pending that schedule, she was hoping to join us.
All right, we'll set that aside for now. Next item on the agenda, July 4th festivities presentation.
Brad's here.
There he is. I was going to say, I didn't see him over there.
I'm Brad DiDio, everybody. If you don't know me by now. I'm just here to just discuss the fireworks this year. June 24th is when we hope to do it, with the rain date the following Sunday, the 25th. No changes to the event or the activities, same as last year.
Same as last year. Worked out pretty well for you?
It's working out pretty well, yep. I think we finally found our groove, you know. The past couple of years we kept it the same, and things are working real smoothly, actually. Planning is easier, you know, running is easier. It's just manpower, really. Just, you know, gonna keep recruiting those men's club members.
And
But yeah,
I got a blank on this. Do we vote on this every year for the support, even though I know facilities take care of the permits?
I think we do vote. We've been supportive.
I'll make the motion.
How can you not trust that face? Come on.
Motion made by Mr. Lavin, second by Mr. Broderick to continue the support of the Upton Men's Club and their 4th of July fireworks here on the grounds of BVT. Questions, comments, discussion?
The men's club also was exploring its ability to assist us in the cost of instituting a new scoreboard on the fields. So convey our appreciation for that.
Yeah, we're still discussing that. I'm not on the committee for that one, but yeah, that's been brought to the members and the directors of the men's club, and they're working on that.
No, we appreciate you guys discussing it. I know
Absolutely.
can't make the promises, but thank you very much for looking into it. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this continued support, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you
out.
very much. We appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda, student representatives, Brianna and Alexandra. Fresh faces this month.
So hi, I'm Alex, and this is Brianna. We're on the Student Council e-board. I'm the attendance chair.
And I'm the communications chair.
And we wanted to give you an update on the Student Council. So from February 13th to the 17th, we had Kindness Week, which is the week prior to February break. This week was led by Rachel's Challenge, and other clubs that participated included Student Council, Skills USA, Leo Club, and GSA. And we want to talk about Josh.
Yep. And student council, as part of that week, we brought in Josh Stream. He was a motivational speaker that spoke to the students. He spoke to the freshman and junior class. He gave us positive ideas and actions in order to get positive outcomes. His theme for the motivational speaking was positive ways to end bullying. We had a positive outcome. The students really liked him.
We also were able to deliver Your Awesome notes given by teachers to students who often went unrecognized, and this is just a way of kind of saying thank you, good job for your efforts. We also, a student council project in the works right now is advice notes to incoming 9th graders from upperclassmen to help prepare them for their future as valedictorian students, just to give them kind of an idea of what they're coming into and any advice they might need.
And then recently, which was actually just yesterday, we had a few of our student council students, 16 of them, go to Hyannis. We had the polar plunge, so we had 16 of our students go and participate in support of Special Olympics. to Hyannis. Those are the updates from Student Council.
Are there any questions?
Questions, anything for the student representatives?
Just going to ask, with the school year getting close to an end, what are the biggest things that are coming up for student council between now and the end of the year?
Right now, many of the student council members, including most of the e-board, is actually on a trip to Hyannis. We have
We have re-elections coming up to focus on. Normally the summer before the school year is when we start prepping for who's going to be on the executive board the next year. So at the end of this year, we're kind of in crunch time now. Elections coming to see who's going to be our executive board next year, as well as our seniors will be leaving, so we have senior wills coming up, and just any projects that we can get through, by the end of the school year.
Anything else?
Did you guys do the plunge? Either one of you?
no.
I participated last year, but not this year.
Did you? How was it?
It was good. It was good. It was a good
Refreshing.
experience. It was really cold, but
You know enough not to do it this year.
Every other year.
yeah.
Joe, the word from the front yesterday was, Ma, it was freezing.
There you go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda. Academic Department presentation, career enrichment.
We're just going to hand out these folders to you guys. We actually give them to our students, and they also help us a little bit during like the parent-teacher nights, so it helps you guys envision a little bit more of what we do as well. Yep. Everybody want? Yep. All right, so career enrichment, it's a required elective here at Blackstone Valley Tech for all the students. They'll come in as freshmen and they'll graduate as seniors with 4 years of this class. We're actually on the academic schedule, but we're teaching vocational strands 4, 5, and 6, which are management and entrepreneurship, employability, and technology. What's awesome is that each of our classrooms are equipped with technology, so we do have the options of giving both independent lessons, but also group work where the kids can actually develop those 21st century skills like collaboration, communication, creative thinking, problem solving skills that are going to be essential really no matter what career they actually go into and pursue after leaving BVT. Real quick, just a little intro of our team. There are 6 of us total, and just a little background. The first 3, Jerry, EJ, and myself, we come from the private sector. Then we have Nicole and Holly, who have the counseling and teaching backgrounds, and then also Kyle rounds us off with the military experience. So it does give us a lot of well-rounded backgrounds to create well-rounded projects, but also have different unique experiences to help guide the students, whatever path they decide to take after high school, which is awesome. From a planning standpoint, though, it's awesome because there's no career enrichment textbook that we can just open up and say, let's go to chapter 6 and learn resumes today, or learn how to be employable. So everything we do create is organic. We create it ourselves, in meetings and after hours. So having the diversity among ourselves, really allows us to bounce ideas off each other, and really create some all-star, unique work for the students. And then Kyle will actually take you into some of that coursework right now.
Yeah, so the purpose of our course, essentially at the most basic level, is to prepare students for the world of work. So we're getting them career ready, we're getting them employable, all the kind of intangibles, if you will, that they need in order to be successful. So regardless of what the student pursues, there's a variety of skills that they need to have and be competent in order to be successful. So almost we want to say your real world knowledge and skills. They get a lot of that obviously in the career vocational areas and the academics, and we look at ourselves as more of a support role, where we complement the entire student experience that they have here at Valley Tech. We do that through a series of projects that start from when the time the students enter. The project sequence goes from career awareness to career exploration to career navigation. So taking a student that enters as a freshman, getting them ready to leave by the time that they're a senior. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of the projects that we do per year to kind of give a good idea of what it entails if you're a student in career enrichment.
And a lot of what he's going to be going over is on the inside of that folder. It's kind of like the sequence that the students will find out, what's in store for them.
So if as a student enters as a freshman, we look at it as a supportive role for them. We're getting them used to the Valley Tech environment, the vocational technical shops. What does that mean? So the students will go to exploratory, they'll come back to our classroom in career enrichment, and they'll reflect on their experience, and then they'll set some goals for their next exploratory. And then what they'll do is actually do some research on what does that field look like outside of Valley Tech, so they understand more of what the potential opportunities are there. Simultaneously, the students do career interests and strengths surveys to find out what they're really good at. So if they go to a shop and they enjoy it and they love it, they also take strengths surveys in our course that find out that they're really good at that and matching up what they're good at with what's offered at Valley Tech. Moving on after that, sophomore year, we do a small business formation project where we really highlight the innovation and entrepreneurship. The students there create their own small businesses that culminates in a business plan competition down in the competition center, and that's always great. The students have a fantastic time doing that. Kind of diving deeper with the career exploration, now we're talking the upperclassmen, this would be more your juniors. We have awesome projects that we do. First, we do a skills transfer project where the students understand that the skills that they're learning in shop, how they can be transferred to other areas, or even within that field into other jobs and opportunities. So I'll have one student interview another student that's not in their shop, and they can kind of see how, I collaborate in auto tech and diagnose a vehicle, while health services collaborates and diagnoses maybe, a human body or something like that, and how to transfer those skills. After that, we have the post-graduation research project. This kind of gives the students a good idea of their options after high school. We move into a student debt, housing, and transportation project, which, those are three factors that can be either limiting or really help students moving forward. And then we do personal budgets and earning power and lifestyle. So they see how much, what it feels like to spend money at 25. What do you need to make? How does that happen? Give them kind of a realistic outlook on that. So throughout all our projects, we really stress the employability, the career readiness, understanding what it takes to be out there in the real world. Lastly, we go to the career navigation. So this is by the time the students are seniors. And this is my favorite kind of series of projects because it's really getting them ready to go out and enter the world. We start with taking a look at the local economy using the U.S. Regional Cluster Mapping website. So the students find out in their field that they want to pursue how many jobs are there in the local economy, put numbers to that, put the numbers to the area so they know maybe where they need to move within the state or within the local economy to find the jobs that they want. Next, the students do an informational interview where they find someone out there in the field that's a professional, and they interview that person, and they get tons of real-world information that they then use to kind of reflect upon and see if that's the decision that they want to make. Students come back with great reviews from that one. They really learn a lot from the informational interviews. Next, we have the students do some career lattices and career progression, so mapping out what a career looks like from when they graduate Valley Tech to maybe up into their 20s, 30s. And next, we have a post-BVT career pathway decision that gets shared at home. They bring home, and it gets shared with the counselors, and it's an entire decision about what's that next step that they want to make. And lastly, we have the students come up with a navigation plan for that kind of decision. So they have to show 3 routes to the same destination. So example would be if a student wants to be a registered nurse, we have the dream route, the realistic route, and the least costly. So show us money-wise, what does that mean? From, the dream route might be, if money is no object, go to Duke. The realistic route might be keep your costs at a realistic level. That'd be maybe like your UMass Amherst. And if you had to get to be a registered nurse, the least costly way possible, might be work as a CNA, go to your community college at night, and then they actually do a cash flow analysis with that on an Excel spreadsheet, so they look at the numbers. So we show the students, here's what your monthly student loan payment will look like, here's what you'll make. Depending on those 3 routes, which one makes the most financial sense for you kind of moving forward. So that's a little rundown of a lot of the projects that we do.
And then lastly, just a little bit about the integration piece of how we work with other, moving parts in the school. One of the biggest is the counseling department. They're really an extension of our crew here in career enrichment with all the career and college planning that they do. And in specific, one of the biggest projects is the career action plans that Kyle alluded to a little bit. It's literally a 13-page document where these kids are essentially creating an exit strategy for when they leave, Blackstone Valley Tech, which is huge, and it really, outlines all their plans and their budgets and, option A, option B, for whether they're going to a 2-year, 4-year college straight to work or the military. So really, it's an amazing project that we do work with the counselors to implement in our class, as it's very fitting. And they also do help co-teach in our classrooms every now and then on certain topics. And then, of course, the shops as well. We do have to keep a constant communication with them because, we could be working on a resume or a cover letter and we can make it look really pretty and nice, but at the end of the day, we're not ex-engineers, we're not the nurses, the master plumbers. So as good as that resume looks, we need communication with the shops to make sure, did everything that they write, does it make sense? Is this going to get them a job, right, as good as it does look? And essentially, we can move those kids along to the co-op office and hopefully get some employment during school, junior year, starting then, which is awesome. So those are a couple of ways that we do integrate with the rest of the school. Surely there's a few more, but those are the ones worth highlighting. And in a nutshell, that's kind of career enrichment.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique class, and we have I think it's a unique student experience, and definitely a unique experience as teachers because we see the entire student body, and we understand that impact that we can have, and it's awesome to have students return and say that they appreciate it and some of the impact it has on them when they're out there in their professional career. So I think it's a testament to some innovative and forward-thinking leadership, and we appreciate the opportunity to get to teach it every day. So yeah, thank you. Any questions?
I had the opportunity to go to the National Superintendent's Conference last week in New Orleans, and there are only a handful of states that have a financial literacy or fiscal awareness program, and there's a new cultural movement to promote it. I proudly described your program, which is our program, it's catching fire, if you will. The impact you've had, based on my conversations with students, parents, and graduates, is profound. Mr. Steele will be among those who referenced there was a day when we offered this type of learning as an option, thinking it might be a nice elective, selective, good thing to know, and then we soon discovered it was an absolute prerequisite, integral to avoiding financial difficulties and planning a career, and love to see the transformation that has been advanced by the principal and others relative to our schedule and the commitment that you demonstrate. So, in summary, thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right, so my question, well, first I would say I think it's a great program. I think it's good to hear. It's very worthwhile for the students. But the question was, how rewarding is it to you to see students find their passion in particular tracks that they want to explore for their career? Is that really hit home for you?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I never intended to be a teacher until I found out about this program, for sure. I changed careers for this. And as soon as you get those emails too. There's kids that have, graduated years ago, and they tell you that the resume they created junior year of high school was the best out of all their resumes junior year in college. And their teachers are complimenting them there. It's just like, that's why you teach. It's unbelievable.
And to watch the growth and development, I think that's a big piece. So, maybe when I started, the students that were seniors, you do your best, but to watch a student go from a freshman, where they come in, just to get used to the school, by the time they're seniors, we're talking about real world, moving forward into the future, and things you never would have thought you'd have that conversation with as a freshman. So it's awesome to watch the personal growth and development of these students, and have a part in it, small part.
And they do make it easy too. Like they understand the value. At the end of the day, they understand that no matter what path you take, everybody's going to be working. So even if you are eventually going to college, you're going to be working, so you're going to have a career, and this is all valuable. And it's about taking advantage of your opportunities to get ahead. That's what we're trying to do.
Anthony.
I just have a question. We probably get quite a number of students that might be the first person in their family going to college, or a student that might be on a career track to become an electrician, but maybe nobody in their family is even remotely related to doing that type of job as a career. Is there any part of your program that kind of pulls the parents into it, right? So if a student were to come home and say, hey Mom, I did my college fiscal thing here, and I'm going to need $36,000. Is there a way that the parents get pulled in?
Yeah, so if you look, actually, we talk about the home as being obviously the foundation of their experience. So right on our project sequence and the scope and sequence here, our team leader calls it, kitchen table conversations, but that's the home experience. And multiple times in our projects, we refer to, take this home, have that conversation, return, and see what happened from that. What did you learn from that? So oftentimes that is, especially with the upperclassmen when they're juniors, seniors, and they're talking, maybe making those financial decisions. So the students definitely, there's multiple times in our projects where they bring it home, get that feedback, and come back. And that's actually one of my favorite things because it just, you feel how important it is, and the students may not have had that conversation ever before. Now they're having it, we see how meaningful and impactful it can be, and it really can shape what they're doing. So we put a large, massive priority on the home experience.
For sure, and to build on that too, the career action plans that I mentioned, the financial sections, a lot of times they need their parents' information as well. Especially if there's any financial aid pieces, they have to, have the conversations with them as well. But also, we'll have self-evaluations. It's part of our grading system, and a lot of times we'll ask them, as the assignment, what are the conversations that you've had recently about this topic that we talked about all week? And we can tell with what they write, if they had those conversations or not. And then we can meet with them if they had and say, you need to have those.
Great, thank you.
Hey, have you seen some of the kids that's like, even as they come out of exploratory, go, this is what I want to do, but I'm going to go here, and the next thing you know is you watch them drift and go, this is really what I want to do with it at the end?
Yeah, so I mean, we see all sorts of different kind of paths like that with students, and the awesome part is we're there as a supportive role. We're there to support the shop instructors, the school counselors, home life, and we don't obviously pass any judgment with that, and we're really there to educate and help in any way that we can. But it is cool to kind of see students, depending on what they kind of find out they're more strong at or better at here, or what they have an interest or an aptitude for. So it's pretty awesome.
Any other question? Gary?
Just a quick one. Do you have any segments within your curriculum that actually goes into salesmanship or selling?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole business competition, when they get down to Comp Center, they have, it's kind of like a crazy science fair of businesses. It's really more like a marketing event. And they're doing their elevator pitch like they're on Shark Tank, scripting that show. And we have them script their own, and essentially, sometimes the winners of those competitions might not be the best business plan, but it was the people who actually sold it the best.
Most times that's what.
Yeah, usually what it is. And, at the end of the day, it's like, you're going to be a salesman.
Get to know your audience. That's really the key. If they can understand who the audience is, and you can sell to them if you understand the particulars. So it's a whole science on how to do it.
Yep.
And it's something that a lot of kids that I've seen over time, they don't have an understanding of how to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's something that's psychological as well as being able to emphasize certain points that are very key to make somebody say, that's a good idea, I think I'll do it.
Yeah.
So you got to train that, because a lot of people don't have that today because they're fooling around with the computers and everything else, and they don't need to do it anymore.
Right.
But if the guy who can, or gal who can do that and be good on the computers at the same time has got to learn.
We teach them a little bit of that early in the year when we're talking about the target markets, and we get into, the marketing aspects, and showing them just like commercials, and we ask them, like, who do you think they're talking to?
Well, when you said how you create businesses, my assumption would be that there'd have to be some logic as to why a business made sense to go into this particular thing, and how you could then take and sell that. You gotta be able to sell it.
Right.
Whether it's to a bank to get financing, whether it's to your mother and father to get some extra money, or whatever it might be.
100%.
You gotta be able to sell, because we're selling all the time.
Yeah, and it's on the other end of that too, there's some kids who, create their businesses all year, and at the end of the year, they're like, probably wouldn't do this in real life. Because they understand they can't sell it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
That's
the
okay.
realization is there.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's cool.
It really comes out when someone's standing in front of them with the monopoly money ready to invest, and the sales kind of goes way up.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
It's fun.
Now, thank you guys very much for this topic.
That's
It's
great.
very important
great.
to give the kids an opportunity to learn about themselves.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
Not push them in a direction, you let them learn about themselves and figure out what's best for them. No,
Sure.
greatly appreciate it. Great to have you guys on.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Mr. Brochu.
Yes, sir.
Hang on to your wallet.
Say hi.
Hang on your wallet, Chet's gonna reach for his pocket.
Good evening, all.
Hey, man.
Anthony is passing out what I believe and what we believe on the facility subcommittee is the final product with respect to the front sign in the front of the school. This comes after many, many, many months of tweaking and many, many, many revisions on the plan. In fact, even the meeting that we had last night, the facility subcommittee meeting we had last night, we actually came up with 3 different changes that we wanted to make. And I was working with, again, Tim Snow in drafting, who's a senior. He is absolutely outstanding. And he's the one that I've been working with respect to the front sign. So if I could just call your attention to the big plan, and I will kind of walk you through what you're seeing on the big plan. You'll see the black brick, the red brick, and the different color brickwork from the column that goes up to the base work there. That brick actually is planned to match the brick, the split block brick that's in the front of the school right now. That's we get that brick from Jandris, so we're looking to match the 4 or 5 different colored bricks that we have that's currently on the competition center outside wall. You'll see that just on the red brick, just below the red brick, there is actually area for a flower bed to be put in. There's going to be a flower bed on both sides of the sign, and it's showing about a 10-inch height from the top of the flower bed brick area to the lower level of the sign. So again, the flowers should not, that we put there, or the greenery that we put there will not interfere with the sign itself. The BVT actually branded logo that you will see on the column, I've been working with Tom Lamont on that. He recommends that that will be actually, I would call farmed out or outsourced, because we would like to make that halo lit. Those signs actually will be halo lit, which I didn't know what halo lit was, so I Googled it and talked to Mr. Bartlett last night. He actually has it at his shop, and it is pretty cool. It's actually like a rare type of lighting, but it's very rich. It's very nice looking. You can light it. You can do halo lighting with a certain color light, any color light you want. So we can. It's just a nice feature with that. Just above the brick, the gray enclosure, including the blue trim that actually reflects the contour of the competition center. Talking to Tom Lamont, we're looking to actually outsource the creation of that box. He recommends doing that box with it's called a Diabomb material. It's like an aluminum flexible material that they will make it out of. They will frame it with 1x1 aluminum framing inside for rigidity, but it will come back, in a, created with a Diabomb box. It will come back primed. We will give it to our auto body shop, and then they will paint it the color ultimately that we want to do. That will save a lot of money with respect to having that box created. Excuse me. The message board, again, we will purchase that message board, and that message board will be, again, fabricated and incorporated within that Diabomb box that we'll have created. The Blackstone Valley lettering that's on the top, we're looking to make that actually 4-inch lettering, and I have actually a 4-inch letter here. It's a PVC letter that in meeting with Mark Fitzpatrick and Carpentry and Tom Lamont, that these letters can actually be cut using the CNC in the carpentry shop that we have now. So it is our plan to have carpentry actually create these letters. We'll actually
Construction technology.
Pardon?
Construction technology.
Construction technology. My apologies, Joe. My apologies. And Auto Collision will be doing the painting of the Diabomb box. My apologies, Mr. Steele.
What letter is that?
G.
Good.
So that is the sign itself. In order to put in this sign, we need to actually take down, and you will see in the pictures and the other packet that you have that you would think the sign is already installed. But again, Tim, with his magic, actually inserted the sign. I asked him if he could take out the tree, but he said, "Come on, Mr. Roach, you really want me to take out the tree?" But that tree is going to have to be removed. We're going to have to dig. We'll be digging a footing into that location. The pipe work does go out to the front of that area, just really nowhere close to that particular area, so we'll have to trench over with the piping that comes out from the school. But if I receive the blessing of the committee tonight with respect to this sign, it would be my intention to immediately go to the town for permitting purposes and to get the permit on this and start the work to actually create and put up the sign. The labor force in which we are planning to do this, whether we do the brickwork in-house or whether we outsource the brick, again, is dependent on the work schedule and the schedule that Frank and his students in the construction technology groups have right now. But I think, working with the facility subcommittee, we've worked, very hard on this. I'm very proud of it. And I've shown it to the administrative team, and again, they're very excited about it. So I think that we're very close to having a finished product.
Could you address the fact of the electronic sign enforcement?
Right. Currently, the town of Upton sign bylaw does not allow a digital electronic sign board. This, what I call for lack of a better word, a plug-and-play sign board will be put in with the understanding that as we push forward to try to get the bylaw changed, to get a digital board in, that we could pull this board out and put a digital board in, whether it's a few months from now, whether it's next year or the year after when the bylaw does change. I will be, when I go in front of the ZBA and planning board, to try to, again, plead our case and to try to solicit that we can put in a digital board right away. But I did not want that the not being able to put a digital board delay the installation of the front sign.
John?
Jim, you want to tell them about the rope lighting around the top?
Oh, yes, my apologies.
That lights up the
Yep.
woods?
The other lighting, again, so we're looking to do with the halo lighting on the actual BVT branded logo. Right above the Blackstone Valley Regional Vocational Technical High School, there is a 2-inch lip on the blue flashing. We're looking to, Kitchler makes a very nice, very narrow, conspicuous rope lighting, LED rope lighting that's going to go under that. So it'll have, those letters will actually be downlit from the top, which is actually, again, I think it's a pretty rich feature on this. So as we're building the brickwork down below, we're going to be running 2 or 3 conduits, through the brickwork, so it comes up actually into the enclosure. We'll be including access panels in the enclosure so we can access it at all times. We'll be actually inserting some pins in the brickwork, some threaded rods, pins in the brickwork. So if the gray enclosure was to ever get damaged for any reason, we can actually take it off, have another one made, and put another one right back on. So we're trying to somewhat make this modular so we can replace any parts or pieces that may be damaged in years to come.
Anthony?
Looking at the pictures, it's a little hard to tell. They change a little bit from the first to the third one, but those cables coming from that utility pole, do they obstruct the sign at all?
What we're looking to do is actually the sign is going to go right, where the tree is. So right where the tree is coming out is where the sign is going to go. Tim, when he tried to crop it in there, try to place it as best you can, just for a conceptual view about
It's
what
gonna
it
be
would
back a little further
Yeah,
from
it's
the...
gonna be back, it's
Okay.
gonna be back a little bit. It's actually gonna be, you know, at the end of those guide wires,
Okay.
well off those guide wires. And what we're looking to do, it's the old cliche, you know, this looks good on paper, but prior to building it or prior to have it built, I'm gonna work with carpentry. We're gonna do a plywood for construction technology. My apologies. We're gonna do a plywood frame of what this sign is gonna look like, how big it is, and we're actually gonna have paint design technology actually paint the lettering on the plywood as it would show, and actually install it in the front to see, okay, is the sign too big? Is the sign not big enough? Do we want to make it a little bit bigger? Do we make it a little bit smaller? And will it work? You know, it might look good on paper, but I want to see a mock-up of a framed, plywood frame sign in place before we release any work to build it.
Not a question, a suggestion.
Suggestion. Just a suggestion.
Yes.
You're gonna take that tree down, eh?
Yes.
One of the things we did at the church that I belong to, we had a big tree.
Yep.
And we had to take it down because of the lines and all that, the wires and stuff. Well, we had a guy come in, he's from Midway, and he actually sculptured a hand with a dove coming out of it, out of the stump. And it came out dynamite. Guy's name is Jesse Green. And I've got his number, so yeah. All I'm saying is, you know, we didn't want to kill the tree, but we had to because of the damage it was doing to the lines. But we decided to use the stump for something that was meaningful.
Something good came out of it.
Something good came out. I'm just
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
I don't know whether you could take this and maybe make a beaver there or whatever you want to do, but I mean, there could be something that comes out of it. That instead of just taking the tree down.
Well,
and
the
ripping
tree
it out.
is actually physically right in the way of where we want to put
The sign's gonna sit right on top of the tree.
You know, unfortunately,
might have been behind.
I think the next one.
we'll look at that.
Just,
I was thinking if there were
Just a suggestion,
13
something to
trees,
consider.
Jimmy,
Got 30
that there would be 13 sculptures.
The BVT Rushmore.
yeah, the division, right? So, I mean, it's fine if you got opportunity.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, you look at this.
Yeah.
You can get around.
Any questions?
We're gonna sell the cordwood to fund the tree.
We heard that. Stop the tree farm.
Always.
Any further questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Brochu? Okay, you want to vote?
I'd love to have a vote, just so I can know that everybody's.
Make the motion.
Second.
Do we know how much this is going to cost? Just, I hate to be the money guy, but just, since Doc won't tell me.
Again,
Evidence that we get for the tree.
It's going to get to the publicity. They won't do it.
I envision, again, Jerry, the labor, you know, if we use in-house labor, it's gonna be a little bit cheaper with the brickwork. But I envision this is probably gonna be about a $25,000 project.
The whole game is 25 grand?
But we actually have right now set aside $7,843.49 in a gift fund to go towards that, this project,
From students.
Those were previous class.
for previous classes.
That doesn't include the, hopefully, the signage that you'll be able to change in the future, right?
That, right, if we wanna buy the digital board.
Digital, is that like another $5,000 for that, or is it only like $150?
Digital board are up there right now, that's probably in about, I'd say the $8,000 to $10,000 range right now.
Right,
But
so you
this
get a
one-
35 grand expenditure potentially.
Yeah. But again, the digital board, again, when, you know, when the bylaw changes, when it has to go in front of,
Well, we know a guy in the school committee, I mean, the selectmen, will be awesome.
Well, let's say you talk about the gift fund you have, I mean, any consideration to, you know, some of the classes that are donated, one of the blocks having a little engraving for them. And that could be a way to generate additional donations.
absolutely, we can absolutely look at somehow, incorporate some type of
Celebrate.
bronze plaque, something, or something in the brickwork itself to say, you know, this was funded with generous donation from X, Y, and Z, you know, absolutely.
Jim, can we put like a red brick perimeter on the ground, all the way around it? People buy a brick to go around, then you crash more than one, you'll never hit it.
We could absolutely build on it.
I mean, just
We
go
could-
out
we-
with one
we-
brick all the way around it too, just like a walkway, but it would be, an idea.
Well, I was gonna say, now we're starting to get a little bit further down the project.
We can take up the
We haven't even been to the
Well,
zoning board yet.
that's how you buy it.
Gee, John, I'll think about it.
All right, I had a motion by Mr. Lavin, second by Mr. Bartlett to advance the project, for Mr. Brochu. Questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all very much, and thank you to the facility subcommittee for all the hard work that you've all done on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's a good idea.
Hey Curtis, I do want to understand, like Mr. Brochu used up a fair amount of your time,
Yeah,
so
we're gonna, mine's actually very quick.
you say that now.
I would like to say a big thank you to Lorna, Anthony, and the various team members who were instrumental in putting the budget together with all the personnel shifts. It was really all hands on deck on this project, and Lorna, thank you, you did a great job. As discussed in the public hearing, we have to take a few votes that are contingent on the FY18 budgetary approval. The first one is item 8.1, and I assume that we've got somebody who's going to read the motion first.
Somebody want to?
I'll read it.
Yes.
I, Anthony Yip, move to approve the transfer of $65,031 of Chapter 71 Transportation Reimbursement Revenues from the General Fund to the Regional Transportation Reimbursement Fund in accordance with MLG C71, Section 16C. The transfer amount referenced above represents the difference between estimated or the budgeted Chapter 71 reimbursements and the final cherry sheet allocations, and will be used as an expense offset for the fiscal year 18 operational budget. So it's $875,780 in the fiscal year 17 budgeted Chapter 71 transportation reimbursement, $940,811 in the fiscal year final cherry sheet revenues for the Department of Revenue, with a difference of $65,031 being the transfer amount requested.
Motion made.
Second.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor of approving this transfer say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 8.2. This involves a transfer from existing appropriations to fund a needed piece of equipment in the technology area, and it's for our infrastructure. During the budgetary process, we noted the current year's fiscal budget had $9,000 for maintenance on an aging piece of equipment for storage. The next year's estimate would have been $16,000. Those two combined would have been $25,000, which is roughly half the price of a new server for storage. Rather than pay the $9,000 out of the current fiscal year plus $16,000, only to be replacing that, we thought it was prudent to find the money in the current year using the $9,000 and other transfers and making that purchase so that we could relieve the operational budget of $16,000 in the fiscal year 18 budget. So if somebody wants to read it, there's additional information down below concerning the server.
All right, I'll read this one. I, Anthony Yance, move to transfer available funds from the following accounts: 1,000.50.4400.450.8, the School Building Network Tech CS budget in the amount of $9,000, 1,000.50.2250.580.8, the Tech Department Hardware account in the amount of $10,000, 1,000.24.2305.110.4, TS Science budget in the amount of $26,838, 1,000.25.2305.110.4, TS Career Enrichment budget in the amount of $8,162 into the account identified as 1,000.50.7350.000.8, Cap Tech Data Infrastructure for a total amount transferred of $54,000. A combination of identified personnel savings and technology funds will be used to provide funding for a new data storage device. The current data storage is ending its 5-year expected life, requiring maintenance and support of $9,000 in fiscal year 17 and $16,000 in fiscal year 18. This new technology offers 42 terabyte of storage, flash arrays, faster speed, is more efficient at relaying data, and has scalability, which improves the district's ability to grow.
Motion made and
I'll second.
Ms. Mitchell got you again, Dave.
Discussion?
Questions, comments, discussion.
Have we thought about going to the cloud? Like, I don't even know what the cloud is, but I know a lot of companies are going to.
Nobody knows what the cloud is.
It's an off-base storage of technology. Do we need this in-house, or are we
No,
thinking of maybe going?
We do, and we do have a number of software packages that are hosted on other servers, especially financial management. iPass is now, I believe, hosted offsite. This does provide that entity or that box that then you can do virtual servers off of, where they talk about spinning up a server, and you need that in-house.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor of the transfers of item 8.2, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Item 8.3 is the first of 2 votes from our excess and deficiency. The first vote is taken in relation to the operational budget that you will be voting on for FY18. And we thought we'd go ahead and present that to the committee to make sure that you understood that second vote was going to impact the total amount of funds available under ND once both of those were voted. We certified in at $719,000, which was approximately 3.2% of the current year's operating budget. And we're seeking a vote of $250,000, which represents approximately 1%. And as a funding source for FY18.
Need somebody to read it?
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Somebody read it? I, Jerry Finn, move to approve the $250,000 from the District Certified Excess and Deficiency Funds, ED, as a funding source for the FY18 proposed budget. The district's commitment to the identification of alternative revenue streams and fiscal austerity contributes to its ability to generate E&D. This valuable resource provides a revenue source that creates a reduction to member assessments. Analysis of E&D. $719,527 certified E&D as of 11/15/16. $250,000 per vote, item 8.3.a. Leaves a balance of certified E&D available after the vote of $469,527.
Motion was made. Is your second stand, Mr. Bartlett? Or Mr. Artinarelli? Motion made and second. Questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. 8.3B.
Okay, so 8.3B, there's a lot on here. You might want to approve it as stated because some of this are excerpts from our budget to show that we had sought approval of this at the approval of our budget for fiscal 17 in the prior year. This is an attempt to transfer $350,000 into our capital projects to fund various summer projects that we routinely do around the district. And it's got an analysis of the original 719 minus the 250 just voted. There's another 350 we're requesting that would leave us a balance of 119,527 in the excess and deficiency. So with that said, if somebody wants to read the motion, or at least as it is presented.
I'll entertain the motion, and you can read the larger print, the smaller print that came straight out of the budget. You don't need to read.
I'll read it.
His would be.
I, Anthony, has moved to approve the transfer of $350,000 from the district's certified excess and deficiency fund, account number 1000-00-0302-000-0, into the program and facilities expansion capital projects fund, account number account number 6100-00-0498-000-0, title OFS transfer from general fund in the amount of $350,000. The vote is being taken for authorization of the annual budget as presented and voted by the school committee and its 13-member towns for the fiscal year 17 budget book, page A-1A, which is the green sheet. The analysis of the E&D is $719,527, certified E&D as of 11/15/16, $250,000 per vote per item 8.3A, $350,000 vote per item 8.3B, the balance of $119,527 projected certified E&D after the vote.
Okay, so with this, I know it's bringing us down to a small amount of money remaining. I know Jim has met with the facilities subcommittee last night to discuss the various projects that we're looking at. The only assurance I can give you as to the amount remaining is that if there was some sort of a capital need, we could go directly to this fund to fund it. And being this year in the late in the year, it's not as likely that we're going to need to tap those funds. If that should happen, we would reprioritize whatever the facilities subcommittee has already, I guess, voted to, seek funds for, just on a prioritized basis.
So a motion made by Mr. Yates. Second by Mr. Bartlett.
So Curtis, in your judgment then, this would remove the need, when the budget comes out, to take two separate actions?
It would, yes.
Okay, thanks, I'm in agreement.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor of this line item transfer say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
And we don't have any donations, so we can skip that last line item.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Almost on time. Mr. Steele.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And there goes the schedule.
Join me. Mr. Chairman.
We ahead of time?
Becky, make yourself comfortable up here. All right. First item tonight is the Massachusetts Girls in Trade Conference. Pretty exciting event that I felt worthy of sharing with you. 16 of our females in electrical, HVAC, and plumbing went to the Girls in Trade Conference on March 2nd. Mr. Allen took the students there on a field trip to the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, in Dorchester. An interesting event. It was not just the IBEW, but in fact, just about every union you could think of in the construction trades. You can see all of their logos represented here, but you have the Iron Workers, the Laborers Union, the Equipment Operating Engineers Union. You have, I see on here, the cement masons, the pipe fitters and sprinklers, elevator construction. So this was although hosted by the IBEW, looks like it was very comprehensive, including the Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners. You were waiting for that, Mr. Broderick. So it was not just a conference for our young females in construction. Of course, that's a non-traditional placement, if you will. This was also a goal that by the year 2020, there would be 20% females in non-traditional jobs. So all of those professional or labor organizations are striving to reach that goal of 20% females in those non-traditional career pathways. Both the educators and the students received, if you will, professional development and workshops that day, including what I would describe as a career fair, where they were able to go around to different booths. I have here the layout for the actual booths that were set up in their convention center, if you will, and they ranged the entire spectrum of the construction trades. The students were able to interact with those employers and professional organizations, look at not only the career pathways, but each student received this booklet which also outlines requirements not only for entrance, like basic requirements, but also talks about anticipated wages, talks about pathways in terms of apprenticeship leading to full licensure and things of that nature, expected wages as you go through things like your journeyman's license path and so forth. So it's a full comprehensive view of not only what the students need to do, but again, they also have breakouts for the instructors as well to help meet that goal. So it's very interesting. We haven't really participated in anything quite like this before. We've done women in engineering, but this was a new approach to women in the non-traditional construction trades. And not only wanted to thank Mr. Allen, but also wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that we continue to try to make these kind of opportunities available for our students. Questions or comments on the women in trades? Okay. Moving on, we'll look at 9.2, the Career and College Fair Report. Many of our administrative team worked on this, including Mrs. Swayze here. It's the second year that we have combined the college fair and the career fair together. The event was organized again by Ms. Denise, Ms. Swayze, Ms. Weitzel, and also our Voc office, Ms. Hathaway and Kim Elder. It got so large, it outgrew the competition center this year, spilled out into the main hallway and down the main corridors. But we basically had 86 colleges in attendance, and on the career side, we had 23 companies present as well. I'm going to talk about maybe on the college side with the students' experience there.
So earlier this evening, you met our career enrichment teachers, and this is an extension of the program in which they provide instruction. So our students were prepped before this event, and so they went to the college career fair with a list of questions with their resume, cover letters. Some of them have business cards, and they had an opportunity. We had 600 students go through this event, and were able to meet with college reps. We're able to meet with companies, ask questions, and seek feedback. So that was a really great opportunity for students to see both college and career. We tend to bring sophomores through seniors, and select freshmen went as well. And so we continue to look at expanding that model as we move forward. And then lastly, I would like just to mention that we've even had other students from other schools come and participate as well, contingents from Nipmuc and other area schools. Uxbridge has been kind enough to host us in the past, so we've also extended those invitations to other schools so that other kids in the valley have that opportunity as well. So it was a very successful event for us.
You mentioned the special group of seniors.
So we do have seniors who have indicated to our career enrichment teachers who were here tonight, 2 of them, that their post-secondary plans are a little bit shaky still. There's a group of those students who were also brought to the fair. They also participated today at the Blackstone Valley Ed Foundation Career Fair that was held in Uxbridge. So even with our students who are not completely positive on their post-secondary plan, we continue to work with those students even now into March before graduation to make sure that they've been exposed to as many opportunities as possible.
So we're obviously striving for 100% placement. And so these are some of the students, seniors, if you will. We select that group that still isn't quite sure what that plan is going to be. So we continue to work with them to solidify them. So regardless of the grade level, this has been a great opportunity to interface with the colleges, as Becky said, to expand a little bit on the career side of the College and Career Fair. Again, 23 companies participated. There were a few interesting ones. Very large employers, for example, Ken's Foods and Marlboro is a partnership that we've been cultivating for quite some time. Very large operation. You probably have enjoyed the salad dressing Ken's. That's the Ken we're talking about. Many other products as well. But really they came over here well over a year ago, maybe a couple years ago now, Doc, talking about everything from their plant operation and maintenance to what I would describe as mechatronics in terms of combining robotics, mechanical aspects of keeping their assembly processes running, their factory running. They really struggle to find skilled labor that can interface and handle that, whether it's PLC programming or mechanized systems of that nature. So they were looking for all of our trades, even though they're perhaps most famous for salad dressing. And just their plant alone, in the infrastructure itself and the cooling and the heating systems in their plant is quite formidable task. So they were here interviewing several students looking for possible co-op opportunities and so forth. Rock in Recycling is a new company that recently moved to Sutton, and the owner came in, talked to many students from again a variety of different shops to talk about positions that he's trying to fill immediately to get his company up and running. That again he just recently moved to this to our district. He also was talking to students about on-the-job training and things like that, continuing education. But he needs students to have a technical background to start. That's his basic need there, although he's willing and equipped to train students further once they start with his company. So on the health side of things, Beaumont Nursing Home and Lydia Taft House were here. They were taking applications, interviewing students on the spot for CNA positions that they need to fill as soon as possible. So again, that gives you a little bit of the flavor of, in the range, from large to small, in district, opportunities for our students to apply their skills. So when you put it together, 86 colleges, 23 companies, career enrichment, preparing the students beforehand. It's really helping our students, find a direction, even if they didn't find the college or the employer that they were looking for there. They certainly walked away with an experience of how to interact with those folks. And likewise, the attendees that came and presented gave us great feedback on our students. We also seek that from them. Do they ask good questions? Are they, exhibiting good interviewing skills? Do they engage you when you're here? And those comments, I think it's fair to say, very favorable. So, great experience, an event that we've worked hard to grow, and clearly it is, and I think it's fair to say it'll probably continue to grow until we're pot-bound and we can't fit any more in. But it's a great event. Any questions of it? Yes.
And I know you said it's growing. Obviously, if it wasn't beneficial for, especially the employers, but obviously the colleges as well, they wouldn't be coming. But are you getting good feedback that they're not just getting a good interaction with the kids, but they're actually finding people that they hire on a fairly consistent basis out of this?
A lot of the companies that come identify us as their preferred or prime source for talent and skill. They would love to start here, if you will. So we'd love to have them.
Well, like I said, obviously they're coming back means it's good for them. They're not going to come here just as an academic exercise.
Oftentimes too, they will bring a alumni with them back. So it's fun to see a student come back now, either at that school or in that company now in a recruiting capacity. It bridges that time between Valley Tech and work, which is kind of
John.
Yeah, quick one. You said that you had some of the students from the Valley come in too. Do we invite all the district towns? Do we send out a notice to district towns that we're having this? I mean, I know it's posted, but to see if some of the towns would send some of their students that might be interested in getting into a trade,
So
even though they're not coming here, they get into the trade through our school?
We've started slow with that. I can show you pictures of the event. It was so packed
Right.
in there with all of the vendors in the schools. So we recently started with Nipmuc, and I do see that expanding to other schools.
Okay.
Certainly because it is a unique opportunity, and Uxbridge has been so kind to host us in the past. But now that we kind of feel like we have our feet under us, it's our second year, we can expand that even further to bring in more students to help out. Definitely.
Because
Good partner.
the workload is
that, you know, that needed out there, and we're filling it, and there's still a lot of vacancies. Maybe some of the students from the high schools in the area might be a fit for some of these companies through our, you know, leadership to get them in. Just be an idea.
We're interested in growing that aspect of it. Also, I don't want to leave out we also had the military president and representative in its multiple branches, 7 total. So that students also have the opportunity to go and inquire about military service, speak with recruiters and so on and so forth.
Just
Yes,
a quick question for me. Have you looked at the timing of this? In other words, this may be a great time to do it, I don't know. Or would it be better to do it 2 months from now when kids close to graduation? I'm just questioning the timing if she's thinking as to why the timing is now and maybe not a little later, where maybe somebody's looking for somebody and say, geez, I gotta wait till you graduate.
We encourage this time of year. Our counseling department lays out for juniors and seniors particularly sort of the planning by month process. And so for our underclassmen, we encourage the fair now so that in April vacation, those students will go visit those actual colleges and spend the summer doing that, so full circle. So the spring seems to be a good time for that as they start to plan for colleges. As far as the career aspect of it goes, there's, you know, companies are looking all the time for work. So the colleges, we felt like in the spring was more of an ideal time because they begin that search in the spring through the summer into their senior year. And that goes along with our model with counseling for parents and education that way too.
Okay, so you've got some dovetailing and making
Yeah,
it look at.
it all kind of works
I'm just
together.
curious.
Yeah.
Additional questions on 9.2, the Korean College Fair Report. Okay, moving on to 9.3, the class of 2017 competency determination. I will give the honors to Mrs. Swayze. She oversees the academic departments here and coordinates that curriculum. But in CD, competency determination is whether or not a student has passed all of their MCAS state requirements and are clear for graduation. So with that, how are we doing with competency determination?
So we proudly report to you that all of our senior students are prepared and ready for their graduation coming in June. They've all passed all 3 MCAS assessments at this time. So all of our seniors are in good standing with the state of Massachusetts for their MCAS, which is their competency determination. So we're very proud of that class. They've done an excellent job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, indeed.
All clear. They just have to pass all their classes, in
yeah.
the portfolio, and make it till May.
And not triple walk.
So we're on track on part. Congratulations and thanks.
Thank you all for your support.
Any questions on 9.3? Okay. 9.4, I have one out-of-state field trip for construction technology, and I have another field trip regarding robotics I spoke with our chairman about prior. We'll tackle 9.4A first. This is a request by our construction technology department to go down to the Rhode Island Convention Center in Providence. It is for the trade show, essentially, look at new products in the field, and also partake in courses and seminars and things related to their curriculum. It's 25 students, 5 chaperones, and they will be going down in a bus.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Kubin, second by Mr. Lavin. Questions, comments, discussion on this trip? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the short trip to Providence, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries, that trip is approved.
Okay.
And as you present this, explain the rationale that as you explained it to me earlier.
Okay. This is one of those robotics trips to the famous or infamous Louisville, Kentucky. Our students came back this week and had qualified for these next Worlds. This trip isn't until April 19th to the 23rd. It's 12 students with 3 chaperones. Essentially, we could take this up for consideration at our next school committee meeting. However, we would leave them a very short window for planning their travel. This is one of those this is the VEX Worlds that we don't know if they're going to qualify or not. They have to earn their way here. And we just this week found out about that. Again, it's 12 students, 3 instructors. This is in conjunction with Quinsigamond Community College. So in terms of the mode of transportation, Quinsigamond is utilizing their coach bus, and taking not only the Valley Tech qualifiers, but students who have qualified in several other schools in the region. Basically, this is a group trip, if you will, down to Louisville for all of the winning teams who have advanced at this point. Quinsig is, as I've been told, 95% sure that they are going to give us a grant and the bus will be free. If that does not come through, the students will have to pay $100 apiece for their transportation down and back, which the students have agreed to do. As far in terms of the finances, the total cost of the trip is $4,017.04. We've done the budget for that, and we did budget for it. So this is an on-budget request that we were anticipating. And again, I simply was asking for the possible consideration of this in advance so that they can make plans and arrangements and so forth. If that, for whatever reason, isn't palatable or anybody would like more time, we can defer this to next month. Okay?
Motion was made by Jeff, second by Ms. Mitchell, to approve that these kids can go to, as I need to be reminded by people, Louisville. Louisville. Questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the trip to Louisville, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries, that is approved, so they can start planning.
Thank you. I appreciate the flexibility with that.
Don?
Yes, sir.
We have a student who just received another distinction, there's a more recent award that was earned competitively. Not necessarily robotics.
In robotics?
No, not necessarily. I'm trying to recall. Was it something that came to your attention, Nicole? No?
This was for the Vex robotics.
It is this one?
Yes.
Okay, then it is, sorry. Okay, all right. It's the same category.
It was the same good news.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Didn't want to miss it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for supporting it again, and very much appreciate the flexibility in helping us work with these things, especially robotics. It's a qualifying type event, as you know.
Thank you very much. I know you had asked, you had brought this to our attention well in advance, just in case. What might happen.
All right.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Swayze, for
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Policy Subcommittee, Chet.
You all received the revision of the policy in the packet, and if you have any questions, very small revision. Go ahead.
Just wondering if, as we're moving forward, it seems
Yep.
like we're putting more of an obligation on the employees, and it just seems like business.
These are long-term employees who have been retired for many years, and they're having very financial trouble making their medication, their payments from their insurance. That's why we're going 55.
I'm just saying, are we setting a precedent for future negotiations with anybody by?
These are non.
I understand, they're the people that weren't represented, but.
Correct.
I'm just saying that, you know.
It just came to us that some of these people have an extremely hard time. They were always late, and they're chasing for their medical insurance, and we just felt that we didn't want to have them deprived of that for the small amounts it costs.
Just asking the question.
No, fair.
Yeah, it's a very, very small population.
No, fair question. And
It's a very small number as well.
Right.
The dollar figure. But it's addressing the older employees, long-term employees that made very little at the time, not like the salaries today.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Motion made and second by Dave. Yeah, he got to stand up the second time fast. Questions, comments, discussion on this change? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. That change is now made. Budget report, Mr. Lavin.
Yes, policy.
No, budget.
I know, okay. Okay, we had our public hearing And it was a pretty good turnout. Doc went through the book, gave us our own information. I mean, what else is there to say, Doc, you know? Okay?
Yep.
No? Anybody else? No?
Well, if I may, each member of the committee has received a copy of the budget as suggested, and so we need, although Mr. Tinarelli may need one, we can make sure that we can adjust that.
Yeah, should be somewhere.
Okay, we'll get one. I have spoken with the town administrator and hope that.
Okay. Next. Anthony?
Yes, I did provide the letter needed to Dr. Fitzpatrick and her.
Anthony has met, as required with the school council, and on the date of March 2nd, the school council voted to support the FY18 budget request. Members were given the opportunity for their input and were maintained, updated and provide rationales. We had a pretty lively discussion, and then they voted in support of the budget. And that's a formal memo that's available for the file.
Okay, now, I'm looking for,
Move that we accept the fiscal budget for 2017-18. Is that the right one?
FY18.
FY18 as presented. Sealed.
Motion made by Mr. Hanratty,
Need a second, right?
I'll second it.
second by Mitch to approve the FY18 budget that as presented to us through the public hearing. Questions, comments, discussion?
Public acknowledgement and appreciation for the budget subcommittee work.
Okay, moving on.
No, hey, I haven't taken the vote yet.
Oh, that's right, no vote.
I know, he's trying to move through the agenda on me.
Well, you said it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, to the
Now.
FinCom reports.
There you go. Finance Committee. Mendon. Dave?
Yeah, we had a good discussion. I thought Dr. Fitzpatrick presented well to the FinCom group on explaining the minimum contribution and the transportation specifically to some of the differences of the budget for next year. And a second meeting was requested by Selectman Schofield, which we had a good dialogue last week on more of the depth of understanding of the minimum contribution, how that is amended. But I thought it went well.
Motion, Doc, you want to handle it?
Yeah, absolutely. Warren is going through some medical treatments, okay? So that's what, he was not available for this meeting,
Yeah.
nor tonight. Okay? He's kept us posted on that. So there was a subcommittee meeting of the Milford Finance Committee, kind of a working lunch with the chair of the committee and I guess the vice chair, but the designee for Valley Park. So it was a good conversation. They did voice some concerns, because Milford is our largest community, and they have fewer students than they had a year ago. And so they have encouraged us to continue to give the Milford candidates every consideration. They would like to see more Milford students here. And so they want to financially support it, and they want to encourage us to give consideration to that. So we're sensitive to that, and the community feels it's undersubscribed, and we don't give plus or minus points for where you live. The initial district agreement, which was put together 50-something years ago, used the ratio of K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade student total of that community as a ratio of the total of all 11 school districts, 13 towns, and created ratios which are not quotas, but they're targets, okay? And Milford would like us to continue to pursue the target closer to 20%. Okay? Right. So
I disagree with that totally, because the rest puts the rest of us at disadvantage. I think the way it is done now is the way properly to be done. I don't think we should, because they lose a few. I gain 6, they lose 6. Everybody here It changes year to year.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we're all under tremendous stress to get as many students from our districts as possible. I don't think Milford's alone.
Yeah, fair point. Okay, saying that's a message they can
I mean, we
get.
used to have 35 a year, and I mean, we're getting less than 20.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to go back to that old way, I think a lot of us would be upset and some of us would be happy. But
Well,
I think the way we're doing it now is presently the best way to do it.
Good to hear, because that's what we've done. This is their view.
I understand their view, and I disagree with it. I just want to make that clear for the record.
It is. Yeah,
And it wasn't too long ago, we asked the support of the communities to expand, to give us more seats.
That's true.
And we couldn't garner enough support to do that, so almost like a tax issue for the state. So, but we received strong support for what we do here, and it's a compliment that any town wants more of their students. Yep. So, and any finance. Okay. There was a follow-up question of email research, similar to Mr. Schofield, by the chair of the finance committee, and we responded to that. It's not clear whether or not they'll be expecting us to also make a presentation to the full finance committee there. They might not. The working lunch and the follow-up research may prove to be sufficient.
Dr. Fitzpatrick and I met this past Wednesday at the Northbridge Town Hall with Northbridge FinCom. Each member did receive a copy of the then proposed overview of the budget, the purple book here. After Dr. Fitzpatrick reviewed the current Blackstone Valley accomplishments, gave a great presentation of the overview of the BVT's budgetary preparation procedures, as well as hit upon challenges such as state transportation and state funding. Afterwards, FinCom did question, rightfully so, Northbridge's part of the budget. They reflected upon that, little clarification back and forth. It was interesting that OPEB was brought up, the OPEB or other post-employment benefits liability was brought up. All the towns and districts are concerned about this. Dr. Fitzpatrick did answer them that the district is currently reviewing current data, and as soon as possible will forward Blackstone's OPEB liability level and rating out to the FinComs once they're sure of where they sit. And that was really it.
Anything to add to that?
No, I thought it was interesting that was one of the first questions raised. Okay. But I did mention that issues of that nature were at the bargaining table and being reviewed. And we were on the gag rule at the time.
That concludes the budget report.
I just want to thank the budget subcommittee for, due diligence this year and doing the best we could to, get us where we are right now.
Thank you, John, for leading that committee. Next, facility subcommittee.
Okay, there's not really much to report because Mr. Brochu already reported, because we spent the whole meeting basically working over the sign, fine tuning a couple questions that Mr. Brochu had fixed and changed and things we did. And starting our next meeting is going to be April 5th, and we're going to start getting back to touring the building. We're just going to talk the first half hour about just our light agenda, and then we're going to start really doing some touring of the building again, like we did when the committee first started, just to keep an eye on everything, to make sure everything, extra sets of eyes. So basically that's it right now.
Thank you very much, John. Next, Dr. Fitzpatrick.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, as you'll note from item 13.1, and as including your advance notifications, last Friday, Valley Tech was made aware that we received $495,000 from the highly competitive technology capital skills grant provided by the government. So this is the second consecutive year we've received a major allocation. The year prior, I believe, was $407,000. We will probably schedule Friday, the 24th, this month, an 8:30 type, coffee or, Danish, or today you do food, I guess, but gathering where we'll invite the local reps and senators and anyone who's available for a recognition of the full check, the large check. Okay, so that might even invite the executive board of the Chamber of Commerce, right? So we won't make it, all 13 towns, but it was just something of that nature. The $407,000 award of a year ago was done at the State House, and the reps and senators were notified. This was not done that way. So we'll give our senators and reps who supported this request a chance to join us at that function. And hopefully your schedule permits you to be there. So we'll send them an invitation. But we're delighted to see that the nearly $500,000, $495,000, and this allowed us to take most of the capital equipment out of the FY18 budget, live within the 3.5% increase, and not sacrifice the technological advancements for our students and programs. Any questions? Moving on. Had an opportunity, I shared this with Mr. Hanratty, the new Millbury town manager. Okay, a little flyer here, I believe. Oh, no, maybe not. Okay. David, yes, I see that. David Marciello, if that's proper pronunciation. Chance to say hello and invite him. He hopes to come down once he gets his firmly established and visit Valley Tech. But it was a very positive exchange and indicated that he looks forward to working with us, and we look forward to doing the same. Captain, to run into him since then?
I have not.
Not yet. So, let you know. We've also provided a letter of congratulations to the interim town administrator in Upton. And Mr. Brochu has reached out to him to schedule a tour. He's a retired individual who works, I believe, 3 days a week, something of that schedule, while Upton searches for a new town administrator. But we'd like to establish a relationship with all the town administrators. The Northbridge town administrator did indicate to us recently that he would be retiring this year. And so he'll be searching for a new town administrator as well. There's the update on that. Any other questions? Moving on. Last week, at least the tail end of the week, I attended the American Association of School Administrators National Conference in New Orleans, which was some 40 degrees warmer. It was attended by 2,100 superintendents from across the country. Great opportunity, really, to do some networking. Made some interesting connections for grant possibilities in water management, credentialing, STEM programs, science, technology, education, math, nutrition programs, and a few others. So we'll see if we can parlay this into some grant money. And also, with the national organization has some mini grants that you might be able to access as well. Curtis and I will follow up. Cole and I are also looking at communications to the contacts that were made. Are there any questions? In fairness, that I will alert you, that is the first national conference that I've gone to since my grandson arrived. I felt like it happens. I reduced my national conferences when my grandson did it. The Mass Association of Vocational Administration's Outstanding Vocational Awards Banquet, our designee, I believe, is the Milford candidate. And so we'll any school committee member who would like to go, we'd be glad to invite them. We usually target the school committee member of that community, which of course in this case would be Warren if he's feeling better.
Then the afternoon, or?
That's an evening.
So it coincides with our next meeting.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing for us. That's one of the reasons why I have difficulty going to. Okay. So, any questions? We will have representation from the school.
Oh, yeah. No.
But that's one of the reasons why it conflicts with us. Item 13.5, which I do think you have. Okay, you'll see here communications from the college board indicating the fact that one of our staff members, long-term English instructor, Tim, has been honored and invited to address this conference and to be a contributor to the AP. And he's quite excited about this, and we're delighted. Much of the costs associated with this are being covered, okay? But this is a distinct honor, and I wanted to share that. The English teacher is being recognized in that fact. Okay. Seeing no questions, moving on. Item 13.6. We have a document that confirms that Unibank, after receipt, was followed through on their commitment to provide the second leg of $15,000 to support the new athletic scoreboard. And, we are now gradually advancing this project as well as the front signage, which we presented earlier. This is a significant payment to cover, help us with the cost. Okay. Any questions on that? Yes.
I'm going to send on a letter on behalf of the committee thanking them for that.
Already done.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, they will be invited also to join us for some recognition and any photographs that they prefer.
Yeah.
That's something we just did with Millbury Credit Union for another $3,500 gift there. So in pursuit of these contributions to assist us and complement the budget.
This is their second spot?
Yes, it is. No. I did have an innocent question raised by a key member, say that what did we promise? Was it 30 and another 30? And I did pause. And I said, well, it really was not 30. It was really 15, but 20 sounds like a nice compromise.
Yeah, I can.
We honored the original arrangement. Item 13.7. As is customary at this time of the year, we receive notifications from various people who are retiring, and this came in from long-term support staff member and graduate of Blackwell Academy. Actually, I think this young lady is the first female graduate of Blackwell.
Yes, she is.
And she continues to maintain affiliation with us, and is now going to be working with her daughter, who's in the baking business. I think in the Millbury area. So you're gonna give up cooking?
She just received a very nice loan from the Worcester Business Development Service to open a larger bakery in the Canal District in Worcester. So she'll be, I don't know if she's keeping her location in Millbury open as well.
I heard there was a change, and I think that contributed to this decision.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. That is an update. Any questions on that? Hearing none? Item 13.8 is self-descriptive, is parent newsletter. Always has some nice messages here. Okay. And item 13.9 is the alumni newsletter. I think there may be flyers here, but among other things, both of these communications announce the annual golf tournament. So if perchance anyone is available, I invite you. However, if the schedule takes you to elsewhere, we invite those with successful businesses, well-lit cabinet programs, to make a modest contribution, because that will be well received.
Hint, Julie.
That was subtle, huh?
That concludes my presentation. Chairman?
Thank you very much. Any new business? Any member of the committee have any new business to bring forward? Oh, actually, before we go into any new business, Mr. Jason Reiner, we haven't done the treasurer's report. Should we carry that forward based on?
We should do that. We should postpone that until the treasurer's present, which has been our past practice.
So next month should be moved.
Well, oh, the table gets emptied at the end of the meeting. This will just be carried over. Nope. I just thank you for reminding me. All right. Any new business by the member of the committee? Seeing none. Dr. Fitzpatrick, do you have any new business?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, if you weren't aware of it,
Well, because at any moment I could be handed a note.
That's true. Next, items for the good of the committee are available if you would like them. Next meeting, April 13th. And as we are now getting ready for our executive session, we have entertained a
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Henry, second by Mr. Bartlett to go into executive session because discussion of the subject is in open session would be detrimental to the school district. Take the vote first.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Before we take a brief break, just wanted to say that after the executive session, we will be coming back to open session for item 18, which is a decision on the release of executive session minutes that are yet to be voted on, and then to close the meeting for the benefit of our.
Might the group also be taking action on the collective bargaining agreement? Which is executive.
Oh, that's in executive session, isn't it?
Yes.
No, I mean, that's.
Oh, you want to keep that within? Okay. Fine. No further action outside.
No further action that's not already listed within the agenda. All right, we'll take a few moments and let.
November of last year.
Oh, I suppose I should.
And I will